Joining me now is women's flyweight contender Erin Blanchfield, who just had a big fight announcement by UFC CEO Dana White on Thursday night. She will be fighting Manon Fiorot March 30th in Atlantic City at Boardwalk Hall. Erin, we've talked to you quite a bit in the last few months. I know you've been eager to get a fight. How excited are you to finally have a date? I know it's kind of the opponent that we expected, so maybe not so much of a surprise there, but how nice is it to just finally have a fight on the books?
It's really nice to have a fight on finally scheduled, especially close to home. It's in Atlantic City, so it's literally only a drive from me. That's what I'm super excited for. I'm excited to fight in my home state.
Yeah, and when did you find out about it? Like we found out on Thursday. Was it around that time? Was it pretty like? Was there not a lot of leadway that you had before the announcement came?
Yeah, no, it was literally like Wednesday night. I think my manager texted me that he's like, "Oh, we should be able to get on that card," and he didn't even tell me for sure. He's like, "Oh, it looks like we should be able to get on that." And then the next day, Dana was posted about it, so I knew I was on it.
Yeah. And so when you heard they were going to Atlantic City, I'm assuming that you really wanted to be on that card, right? Like you fought at MSG. I know that's not too far from where you grew up either, but being in the state of New Jersey, is that special for you?
Oh, it definitely is. I didn't know that they were doing that Atlantic City card till like pretty recent too. And then once I heard that, I was like, oh, I definitely want to get on that one. That caught my eye right away. Yeah, so I'm super pumped about getting on it.
Yeah. Do you know if it's a 5 round or 3 round fight yet, or are you guys still kind of figuring that out?
I don't know yet. I mean, I'm pushing. I want it to be a main event. 5 rounds. I'd love to fight 5 rounds. I feel like that fits my style really well. And prepping myself for like a title fight, I think going 5 rounds would be super beneficial. So I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna push for 5 rounds.
Yeah, and I guess how special would that be for you, right? Because maybe you can correct me. Is would you consider this more of like a sort of a homecoming for you than the MSG card was? Like, I don't know all the dynamics of that area, but is this one? This would be kind of the Erin Blanchfield show at home, right?
I feel like it definitely would be. I mean, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of family in the city, and MSG was kind of just always a big goal for me. I mean, who wouldn't want to fight at MSG? So that was a huge goal. But fighting like in my home state, I mean, I was raised here, always went to school here, trained here my entire life in Jersey. So I think being a main event in Atlantic City would be so awesome. I feel like I'd bring a crowd too. I mean, everyone I know lives here, everyone I train with. So that would be super special. It'd be something to remember.
And for you, I think maybe with your division too, right? Like that's probably one of the things that makes you stick out at 125 in the women's divisions too. I feel like there aren't necessarily a lot of fighters that are on the come up that people are very much supportive of. Oh, this should be a main event. This fight's worthy of it. But I feel like you've really differentiated yourself and you've kind of had that buzz. So do you feel like the environment that night, if you guys are the main event, will be pretty special, will be pretty electric?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think it'd be awesome. I know like I got to fight at MSG, but I got booed a lot going fighting there. I feel like fighting in Atlantic City, the crowd would definitely be on my side. Um, I'm yeah, I'm from the state. I'm a homegrown New Jersey fighter. So I feel like it would be pretty awesome.
We last talked to you right after your Singapore fight, right? The week when you had gotten home. And at that point in time, things were a lot different in the division. We kind of were waiting on the rematch for between Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. And you were saying, I think I'm going to get the winner. And then obviously they go out there, they have a draw, which I think was probably the worst case scenario for you in terms of getting that next title shot. So I guess kind of what was your takeaway from that? Was it disappointing to kind of be seeming like the next person in line and then ultimately have that happen? Kind of your thoughts on that the way things played out there.
Yeah, I was there for both the fights actually. So seeing the second fight go to a draw, I knew that would be like worst case scenario for me for like timeline wise if I wanted to get a title shot next. But I mean, you never know what's gonna happen in like the fight business in general. People get hurt or fights happen the way they did, and you have no idea. So I knew that would definitely probably stop me from getting a title shot next. But I mean, I'm gaining so much experience from all these fights. I feel like every girl I'm fighting is super tough, and it's only making me a better fighter. And I know when I get that title, I'll truly be a champ. I've went through like a gauntlet of people to go through. And yeah, I'm just gaining experience from each fight. And I feel like it's making me a better fighter. It's forcing me to improve. So, I don't really mind it. I mean, I want to be a champ, so I'm going to have to fight the toughest people anyway.
Was there anything about that fight that surprised you other than it ending in a draw?
No, not really. I knew it was going to be a super competitive fight. I mean, I could tell from the last one that they both I mean, I felt like Valentina was winning the first one, but then Alexa came back and finished her. So I knew that they were pretty equal, I feel like, in skill. And when you're that close and they're that equal, the fight, it could be hard to win or hard to like make something happen. So it going to a draw, I mean, it's surprising in the moment, but looking back, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah. Have you heard any sort of timeline from the UFC about the title picture? Like, I know sometimes with contenders, they might tell you ahead of time, like, this is a title eliminator, or this is what we're kind of planning. Have you heard anything about that? Like, have they told you guys that the winner of this will get a shot? And then also, have you heard anything about, I guess, where the division's at, when that other rematch could happen, the trilogy?
Yeah. I mean, they haven't told me, like this is a like number one contender fight or anything like that. But I mean, you can tell it probably is. I feel like my last couple fights have been like a number one contender fight. I think that they were trying to do the rematch. Well, I guess the trilogy, for February, but I don't know. That's all. That's like the last thing I heard. I don't really know what the plan still is, how they're recovering from like their injuries and stuff like that. So yeah, as far as that's as much as I know.
Mm. And you mentioned it. It's almost felt like there's been a couple of number one contender fights for you, and from Manon as well. Like, I think you guys, it's on one hand it stinks because it seems like you guys are having to fight maybe extra or more times than you would have if this was the division a year ago, right? But on the other hand, it does have a lot of hype, a lot of build. Like, there was talk about you guys maybe fighting in France before she got paired with Rose and you got paired with Talia. So for you, I guess now that she's been on your radar for a while, you guys have mentioned each other in interviews before. Can you just talk to me about what you think of her as a fighter, what you think of this fight, and I guess kind of what fans should expect to see out of you guys on March 30th?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, she's a great fighter too. I feel like she's the only other girl that people think deserves a title shot too. I feel like it's me and her have been kind of neck and neck winning fights. I think we have like about the same amount of wins or something like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to honestly just go and prove myself as the next title contender. Yeah, I have no problem going and doing that. I know that maybe it takes a couple extra fights, but proving that there's nobody else that deserves that title shot more than me, is something I'm excited to do. And I'm looking for a finish March 30th.
And I'm sure you were keeping a close eye on the fight between her and Rose. I guess, what'd you think of it? Were you impressed at all with her performance? What kind of challenge do you feel like you're up against, having seen that fight and kind of seeing the most recent version of her?
Yeah, I mean, she's like a lanky kickboxer. I know she was a professional kickboxer before fighting MMA, and I feel like she's used that to her advantage in pretty much all her fights. I feel like with Rose, she kind of kept her at distance. Rose was having a hard time closing the distance. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything too crazy dynamic about her game. I mean, she's decently well rounded, but she's gonna look to, I think, use her striking, keep me away. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the majority of her style. She's a little older. I feel like she's gonna rely on what she already feels like she's good at.
We hear the striker versus grappler thing a lot in MMA, and sometimes I ask fighters that question, and they say, "Well, this is an MMA fight. Everybody's well rounded. We got to be ready everywhere." But for you, do you feel like this fight is that like is that an accurate representation of what's going on here? Like, I mean, you're going to want to take this down. She's going to want to keep it standing, or do you feel pretty comfortable regardless of where the fight goes?
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable regardless where the fight goes. I mean, yeah, I'm a grappler. I feel like I grew up doing a lot of grappling. Yeah, it fits my like body type, but I've been fighting MMA since I was 18. I feel like I'm super well rounded, and I know I can win a fight anywhere, and use all my skills to my advantage. So yeah, I'm excited to show off all my skills on March 30th.
We've talked about it before, but kind of the youngest female champion whole storyline, right? I mean, you've always said like that would be cool, but I'm trying to get to the belt. I'm just trying to be champion. But now that we're getting kind of closer to that deadline and it seems like it could be achievable, is that something that you're going to push for at all just because it is in front of you that you could do something like that?
I mean, I would love to. I feel like I definitely have the ability to do that. I'm not sure exactly what the timeline would have to be, and it also, I guess, depends on when Valentina and Grasso fight again, if they fight again, like kind of what's going on with who has the title. But becoming the youngest female champ would definitely be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess going along with that, 2024, do you feel like this is going to be kind of a pretty massive year for you? You're already starting off with a contender fight, maybe a headliner. So Do you think this is the year that things finally do tip in your favor? Do you feel like this will be the year that we see you, you know, be named champion for the first time?
It definitely could be. Yeah, I'm really excited for March 30th, and I would have put all like my focus and energy into that. But it is super early into the year, so after winning that fight, you don't know what happens. I feel like I definitely should get a title shot next. And if I do, I'll definitely be champ by the end of the year.
And I got to ask you too. You know, I know your teammate Fatima Mclins getting a lot of hype from us, from other outlets, a lot of attention. A lot of people are asking, you know, online, trying to wonder why she isn't signed. Is that something that you're hoping for? Maybe that you guys will be able to share this card together, and that she'll be, you know, be able to go in there and have her first UFC fight the same time that you have a massive fight like the one against Manon.
Yeah, I think that would be super awesome. We've talked about that a bunch. She can definitely. I mean, I'm surprised she hasn't been signed already. Having her debut March 30th, the same card that I am in Atlantic City. Her family's all like around here. My family's all around here. That'd be awesome. It's something I think the UFC should definitely do. I think it'd be smart to do.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to your fight. Hopefully she's on that card as well, because she's earned it. Erin, super appreciate the time. Congrats on having another fight booking, and good luck with camp.
Yeah, thank you.